Horror movies just don't work when you've got a Walther.
This fall, 6 cities. Prepare for 2 rebels with a cause. Phoenix, Houston, Charleston, Nashville, New York, Baltimore. The Rebels with a Cause Comedy Tour. Tickets on sale now at louderwithcrowder.com/tour.
It's called Not a Sip. I realized that this shirt was unbuttoned, because usually I leave the top button unbuttoned, but I don't usually wear a fat guy Hawaiian shirt.
Nice shirt.
Yeah, but it's
Thank you for that, Gerald. Thank you. We'll circle back to that. On shirts. So glad to be with you guys today. I'm feeling better. The only thing is it's gone to my ears. So I can't hear very well. So today I'm going, what?
Eh? Do you have an old horn?
I have
Golden horns from Warner Brothers?
Yeah,
Aaron Munchausen.
like Grandpa Kong
Yeah.
playing his old radio crank.
What?
Look, Florida. There's a lot going on in Florida. I don't know if you know this. There might be some monkeypox. Surprise, Miami.
What?
But Desantis is kicking ass and taking names. So we have a few clips there that we want to not only show you because he's making a major announcement. He says it's a major award here today. And then Sweden and Finland. I talked about this a few weeks ago, that I don't think they should join NATO or be allowed to join NATO. Now they are.
Yeah.
I gave you 5 reasons why that's some bullshit. Also, let me. Okay, can I?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say this? I hate Sweden. I hate Sweden. And with the Chinese, I always say the Chinese government because I love the Chinese people. With Sweden, I hate all of it. I hate the people. I hate the country. I hate what they stand for. I hate the history. And I would like to see you be whatever the equivalent to the 51st state of Russia would be for you guys.
I've never seen their assembled furniture.
Yeah.
I fought over it.
Right. It's just over that mountain, Shadow. Name that movie reference. That's a theme song that, by the way, was similar to Jurassic Park. Okay. So my question for you two, we took this a while back. I want to see if it's changed. Who would you like to? Would you like to see DeSantis be the nominee in 2024, or Donald Trump? Because it does seem like it's going to come to blows. And I just hope that neither one of them has to limp into the general, considering how rough these primaries can be. So before we get into that and more, Gerald, how are you?
I am well. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. I just can't hear very well. And you know him, you love him. We're going to be on tour, louderwithcrowder.com/tour. Big Fall Tour, the Rebels with a Cause Tour, big theaters, Phoenix, Arizona, September 16th, Houston on September 17th.
Ahoy and ahoy.
And then we have a bunch of other dates after that.
Triple ahoy.
Yes. How are you? Good?
I'm good, man. I can hear.
Are you feeling better?
I feel better.
Good.
I do, yeah, thank God.
Well,
not the best, but
I'm glad you're feeling better because I've got an anti-cure for all that ails you.
Ooh.
Right now, we're about to watch a true hero. Do you know what that means? You guys know what that means, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It means someone we could do without. So a teacher is, what would we do without public school teachers? What we did since always. What you think the Hutu tribesmen have public school teachers? They'd be stringing them up with sinew. The Inuit would be stringing them up with musk ox horns. Okay, so I've been watching a lot of Alone. That's why I know the musk ox.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
A lot of alone, or have you just been alone?
Both. This is the outfit of a man with very little left to live.
And heart disease.
Yes. I feel fatter.
But
just wearing this
but
shirt.
you look comfy.
I am comfortable. Oh my God.
You
I
look
get
relaxed.
it.
I'm buying.
I feel
man.
relaxed. Well, the show's it's a slow news day, but oh my God.
Nobody wears that and is angry.
It's true.
That is true. Yeah.
because it feels good.
I mean, if I saw someone angry in this shirt, I'd have some follow-ups.
It'd be like if somebody spilled something on it.
Right. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the only reason.
And you know it would be that person themselves because people who wear these are lazy slubs.
Blaming the waitress on the daiquiri that they ordered.
Hey, you went to dinner with Guy Fieri too? Now, teachers are pushing more wokeness on students.
My flame shirt.
My flame shirt has bacon on it. Wow! And a quail! Why do you have restaurants, Guy Fieri? The worst thing is, here's the worst thing about Guy Fieri. He knows his stuff. He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
He just sells crap.
Yeah, he knows it. He's like, but I'll go with hot dogs.
Yeah.
I'll make millions of
He's
dollars.
a
thank you
Michelin
very much.
chef and he's selling Egos and Pogos. What is
Best
wrong
we've
with you?
ever had.
All right.
Hot dog Eggo sandwich.
You know what this hot dog Eggo sandwich needs? Funnel cake. All right. So this teacher, you can comment below whatever you want. Hit like if you're okay with this. If not, I don't care. It's one of those days. It's going to be a fun one. This teacher, without a hint of irony, I don't know. I'm hoping that the outcome is what she suspects here. So this teacher has a student, I guess a middle schooler, who schooled her on pronouns. And of course, this teacher, have you seen these ads now? TikTok taught me.
Yeah.
All over TV. TikTok taught me. These are the new commercials. That's a scary thought.
Very.
So she goes to TikTok to ask you for the answer because she's not quite clear on whether her student is smarter than her dumb, woke, sorry, useless ass.
Okay, TikTok, I really need your help here on this one. I'm a teacher. I teach 5th and 6th grade, and this morning, I don't know, somehow...
A teacher announcing it?
The concept of pronouns came up. And one of my students said, well, Miss O'Dell, did you even ask me my pronouns? And I was like, whoa. I hadn't actually asked him his pronouns, and I had called him, and I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I haven't actually asked you what your pronouns are, and what are they? And he said... Banana said, banana and rock. And I was like, no, like, don't mess around with it. I was actually really upset because
You're a woman?
I thought he was making fun of it. And in fact, I'm still pretty sure he was making fun of it. And, but they all agreed, no, like, you can choose anything. Banana, rock, if you want banana and rock to be a pronoun, banana and rock's a pronoun. Is it? TikTok, tell me.
I love how all it took was a conclave of students, and the teacher is convinced that she's dumber than them, and she's right.
Yeah.
She's like, well, can't argue with that. They all
Who wants
agreed.
to play rock, banana, pronoun?
Oh my
What a
God.
stupid...
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, I'll tell you what. Define pronoun, and then I'll call you whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sit down.
It'd be like that film with Kevin Kline. What was it? With the all-boys school? I can't remember what it was called.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Dead Presidents Society? Dead Poets
Dead
Society?
Poets Society?
Except instead of all dropping a book, it's just dildos.
Oh, jeez.
oh,
she's like,
Captain, my captain.
Bananas.
Oh, sir, my sir.
Oh, farmer captain.
Oh, thee, my thee.
Oh, banana, my rock.
I love it. She's like, I don't know if he was joking or, dear God, I hope that kid came home and spoke with his dad. And he said, all right, look, here's what you do. And he said, no, I'm going to get in trouble. He's like, your teacher's too dumb for that.
You're not going to get in trouble, son. I have
Can
you
you
back.
imagine looking at a teacher and going, look, call me banana rock.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, I hope you're not kidding.
Yeah. And you're like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, 100% banana.
Teacher would go, yeah, you need to sit down, Mr. Whatever.
Yeah.
You should feel me.
What was her like? How was she convinced? Was her student Denzel? Yeah, you call me Banana Rock. Okay. Okay.
We didn't land
But you
on
don't want to
banana.
call me Banana Rock. You don't want to
landed
call me
on
Banana Rock? No. Okay. My friends call me Banana Rock, but you're not a friend. You're not a friend. You're not a friend. No, you are not a friend. I am Banana Rock to you. All right.
And then I took to TikTok to lose my job.
Yes.
To prove that I'm an idiot, removing all doubt.
Sorry, you mispronounced tenure.
Yeah. Hey, really quickly, so the Ron Desantis thing, I don't know if it's still going on, Tokenawan, I don't know if you have anything on that, but there was his announcement is concerning, I believe, law enforcement. So do we have anything on that?
Right, yeah, he just gave the mic over to a sheriff in Tampa, and that's live right now.
Oh, it's live right now. Okay, well, you know what? We have a story set up for it, but let's go right now live to, and by the way, hit the like button, share. If you like the fact that this is live and sometimes we go off book, we're really curious to see what it is that Ron DeSantis is doing. Major announcement. Let's see.
The decisions for the courts or a jury of our
Little hot.
peers? One of the more egregious examples occurred in September and involved a suspect
suspension of state
who,
attorney.
after shooting someone, and then opened fires on a residence where that victim sought refuge and protection. Inside of that house was the victim, his mother, other children, and
Control Room, get me everything you can on Andrew Warren.
who were forced to take cover and hide. To make things even worse,
Ask TikTok.
nearby was another mother and her twin infant children in a vehicle. One of the shooters, our suspect, was identified and arrested just a short few days later. After being released from jail, he was caught and arrested for committing another burglary, and while in jail, the state attorney's office no-files charges on the shooting and the separate burglary charge.
Right. So here,
Earlier
bring that
this
down
year-
for just
This
a second.
guy's
Let me
nervous.
give you-
By the way, I love, this is the thing. Ron DeSantis actually works with real people. You can hear how dry his mouth is.
Yeah.
You can hear how nervous he is. Guy can't be blamed for that.
No.
It's just a guy stepping up doing the right thing. So, okay. Tell me.
So basically what's going on right now is progressive prosecutors that are supposed to be backed by George Soros that are not enforcing the law.
Right.
That's what Ron DeSantis is addressing, basically saying it's a dereliction of his duty. And one of the reasons that crime is surging, and that's why they're removing him from office. Forcibly removing this person.
So I guess State Attorney Andrew Warren can derelict my ball.
Yes.
That really hurt.
Yes.
That really hurt when you told me to derelict
Yeah.
your balls.
Well, no, but that's fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
you see that happening everywhere in these
Of course.
major Democratic cities. The mayor of New York was actually talking about it. 10 guys, like there were 500 crimes committed by 10 people that just kept getting released.
Let's go back to more of it, and you guys get me more on it. It's Andrew Warren, right?
Andrew Warren.
Andrew Warren. Let's see what he has, because we have the preface to this, which took place yesterday. So we'll kind of be doing this a little bit sort of DeLorean style, going back and forth. I really want to hear what this guy has to say. I'm liking this guy, even though he's nervous.
To that home. Even in the face of this adversity, law enforcement continues to report for duty and uphold their obligation. As your sheriff, I continue to work with my law enforcement counterparts who privately are frustrated with the state attorney, who seems intently focused on empathy for criminals and less interested in pursuing justice for crime victims. As most everyone knows, I'm a tremendous proponent of reducing recidivism. I've created several diversion programs and continue to provide resources, education, and training opportunities for individuals to rehabilitate and improve themselves.
Hopefully it diverts
while
pedophiles
still
to a drainage
holding
ditch.
offenders responsible for their actions. These efforts do not involve a blatant refusal to uphold the laws of our state. As the governor just outlined, and as Tampa law enforcement has seen over the years, empowering criminals through a lack of prosecution jeopardizes the safety of our Tampa Bay community and makes them even more brazen to commit additional crimes and continue to victimize the innocent.
Real quick, I want to say something. A couple of things here. I don't have this sheriff's name. I would love to get his name, like the guy. From what I'm saying thus far, I don't know everything about him. Compare what he is saying right now. I guarantee you. Call me to the mat on this.
Sheriff Chad Cronister, by the way.
His name is Chad. Perfect. So call me to the mat on this if I am wrong. I'm making a prediction here. The left is going to say, just like with the Disney situation in Florida and Ron DeSantis, this is fascism. The right doesn't care when they're using the law as their own political arm. Here's the difference.
Sorry, DeSantis has come back up.
Okay, let's see DeSantis.
Another one of our great sheriffs that many of you know, Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd.
We just did a Vanna White.
Thank you very much, Governor. It's
Looks a little bit
truly
like
my
Mr.
honor to
Mackey
be a
with hair,
Florida
but I
sheriff.
won't hold that against him.
And I can tell you, I've
See
done
if it's
this
spicy.
job my entire adult life.
A pudgy Bush senior.
I remember, Governor, when the felons owned Florida. It was in the 70s and 80s.
I thought I was going to say it was
that
called
well.
Detroit.
Yes.
I was one of the cops on
Well,
the
they
street.
built Miami,
when we
so
couldn't
kind of
keep
thank you.
Cocaine cowboy.
felons locked up. We couldn't keep the criminals locked up, and they preyed on the community. And, Governor, they didn't prey on the ones behind the gated communities in the $1 million and $500,000 homes. They preyed on what I call the real working people. And then a magic thing happened. We changed the laws. We decided to hold them accountable. And, Governor, it was a Democrat governor that signed the legislation that started us down the path originally to make a positive difference. Now I look around the country today. I've seen a few things. I was recently the president of the Major County Sheriffs of America. I talked to and counseled with the sheriffs from the largest jurisdictions in the entire nation, to include the Los Angeles Sheriff's Office. In fact, the sheriff there was my vice president of the association at one time. And you know what they tell me? They tell me we got a dumpster fire going on in this nation.
Is he hitting the mic, or is that one of you guys?
And you know who's getting burned by this dumpster fire?
Dumpster.
The working people.
Yeah, it's him. It's
you know,
popping.
it's not
Richard
safe for
Painter's on
people
the
to
phone with
walk
his
the
lawyer.
streets.
Yeah. There's my
The
trademark.
homeless aren't being looked out for. The mentally ill aren't being looked out for, and it's by the major people. Now, Governor, I know you'd be disappointed if you didn't see some cards.
What's the Friars
So
Club?
let me give you a snapshot of the people that join Prosecutor Warren in not enforcing the law.
Make some real
We just won't
racist jokes
enforce
about
the law.
Sammy.
By the way, shouldn't you refer to him as former state prosecutor Warren?
That's a good point.
Let's
make it sting.
That would have been Donald Trump. I'm sorry. Former.
Businesses are closing.
It looks photoshopped.
Threw the prosecutor out because they weren't holding criminals accountable. Chicago, I think that speaks for itself. Los Angeles, where the sheriff told me I've got 60,000 homeless.
Wow.
We have criminals running wild. We have innocent people being victimized. And who's responsible there? The prosecutor, the chief prosecutor, who's allowing it to occur. He has the law, he has the tools. Baltimore, Maryland. But that's not all. Then there's one of our favorite places, Portland, Oregon. You can set up a chop zone there.
Did you hear the audience?
Not let the cops come in.
He's got a crowd animator off to the right.
He's a hype man.
As long as it takes me to drive back there from here.
They got the guy from Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah. He's like, come on.
New York.
Yeah.
Where they're not holding people accountable.
Sandman comes out with the hook.
Seattle, Washington, and Washington, D.C. So what's the commonality here?
Democrats.
Just go look for yourself. Look at the data. The murders are up. Innocent people are being murdered where prosecutors don't do their job. My friend Chad Chronister just gave you an example. We don't have time to stand here all day, but listen. Prosecutor Warren, like the rest of us who ran for public office, we ask for your precious vote in order to enforce the law and do what was right. Then we took an oath to tell the truth, to uphold the Constitution, and to support the laws in the government. And we do that. And we're led by the greatest governor in the United States
that you could not hear at a Democrat rally right now. It wouldn't land.
Can't say law.
You can't say rule of law, Constitution. It's not something that is permissible.
But there are some.
A city of people not being gunned down. Couldn't really, I mean, sad.
Signed the papers that said they wouldn't prosecute. Not we'll evaluate it case by case. We won't prosecute. You know, they're not God. They're not the legislature. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, this is about protecting the community we serve. This is about keeping people safe. And when you look at the highest murder rates, when you look where the quality of life is lowest, you look at the prosecutor who does not support law enforcement, who does not do what's right. Our governor does what's right. And Governor, I appreciate from the bottom of my heart you setting the example and doing the right thing and keeping the people safe. And the exciting thing is you not only protect the people behind the gated communities, you protect the people who clean the gates on those communities. Thank you. God bless you.
Pretty strong. Also, this shows you that conservatives understand the importance of municipal government.
Yeah.
Using cities as examples. The left always says, look at the poorest states. Most of them are red. Sure. They don't have the same kind of crime infestations that you're talking. So this is a problem. The left always says poverty is a problem. Poverty isn't the problem. Poverty itself isn't the problem, and certainly not the wealth gap. The problem is the ramifications of certain poverty-stricken neighborhoods, largely run by Democrat mayors, places like Detroit.
Yeah.
Sure, some of them have drug problems. They don't have the violent crime problem. He just pointed to cities. You have states that are petri dishes, and then you have cities, which are also little experiments, and he was just pointing to Tampa in Florida. It was an outlier. So let's go back to Governor Ron DeSantis.
They go out to men and women at agencies to protect our community, and then to turn around and find out those cases got no-filed.
Right.
To find out that they have to go back to a victim and say, sorry, this won't be prosecuted. Those are very difficult days.
I can't believe you just had three white guys speak.
For men and women.
Is that against some kind of law?
It is.
Let me go back
Must
to
be
that
why
point.
CNN isn't covering it.
Oh, yeah. No. When we were
We are
talking about
family
this, it was like, there's no way they're going to cover this. So we need to make sure we have a backup of this.
They'll
somewhere.
cover it later when they have the angle.
Oh, they'll basically just call Ron DeSantis a bully. Right?
Yeah.
They'll call him a fascist.
Just
like
bring
you
in
said.
the quiet girl who gets loud from Police Academy.
Yeah, yes, true. Yeah. That'll be totally fine. I got a couple of stats on Warren if you want them.
Sure, let's do that.
So some of the reasons that he has been kicked out or basically being removed from office, suspended. Kicked out sounds better. It just sounds less ceremonious.
Yeah.
So basically, he said that there were 7,000. One of his crowning achievements is 7,000 people that had, I think they were driving without an ID or driving without identification, is one of those things that he just said, we aren't going to do anything with that, right? And so there were some ramifications to that. That wasn't the major thing, though. His recent comment that I think really sent it over the edge was he is not going to prosecute doctors or anybody else who gets an abortion. Right, under the new laws that they're saying, he's just basically
anybody else who performs an abortion.
Yeah. He's saying I am not going to enforce the laws of the state of Florida. I'm going to kind of do whatever I want to do. And DeSantis just fired a shot across the bow for every single prosecutor in that state.
Yeah,
you enforce the rules that we, the people, signed by electing representatives who put forward bills that came across my desk, and I signed them. Otherwise, you don't have a job.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. You know what? Instead of going to the clips of Ron DeSantis, we're going to mix it up a little bit. We'll go to this week in Biden after I make this point, because I think it's an important contrast. Here's what the left is going to do. This is what I was saying. You can call me on this. They are going to try and point to this, just like it did with Disney, and say Ron DeSantis is using the law as a fascist. You guys don't have a problem when they do it, and then you accuse Biden. Insert whatever it is here. Actual fascist action that was undertaken by the president, like locking down economies, like punishing, like saying that he would override states' rights on certain issues, right? This is something that they will do. They will try and make it seem as though Ron DeSantis is a fascist. Let's be really clear here. What Ron DeSantis is doing, and what I like about Ron DeSantis, Governor Ron DeSantis, and don't get me wrong, very much like and appreciate Donald Trump, will vote for any one of them if they are in the general. Governor Ron DeSantis has been working on this for a while. He made the announcement once he aimed correctly. One shot, boom. That's what he does. He does it well. He still makes sure to put the media on their heels, and we have clips from what he did yesterday. He still makes sure to keep fighting on the fronts that are occurring right now, but he is working behind the scenes, and when he comes out with something, whether it's the Disney, was it a bill exactly, or was it just we're just going to revoke your tax exemption?
Yeah, just revoke
your tax benefits. Yeah. So it didn't even, at that point, I don't even think it needed to be a bill.
I think technically.
Yeah, not renewing. There you go. He did it behind the scenes. Made sure that he was right, made sure that he had the authority to do so, did it. And then the left says that he was a fascist. So let's compare what Governor DeSantis is doing, and I guarantee you they will try and say this is a man using government as a hammer, is what they're going to try and say. He's simply demanding that people who are elected represent the people who elect them and the laws of that state. If you're going to ask me, I think that state prosecutor, that state attorney. Was it attorney?
It's not the attorney general.
It's not the attorney general.
Yeah.
Andrew Murray. Think he's a fascist. If he says, wait a second, there's a law here in Florida that we have, was passed by the state legislature, and we have a system of checks and balances, I'm not going to enforce it.
Warren.
Andrew Warren.
Andrew, what did I say?
Warren.
Murray.
Oh, Murray.
Yeah.
Oh, not Andrew Murray. Who's Andrew Murray?
I don't know.
I know Douglas Murray is, a wonderful friend.
I gotta be honest, I'm just still stuck on the driver's license part. Yeah. Isn't that the first red flag to continue the procedure?
Right. Yeah.
Just don't go, oh, no license.
Yeah.
My bad.
Guess we can't hold you to anything.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
I don't know who you are.
Voting booth's over there.
Yeah. All right.
He basically came in and said, hey, I cleared out like 30% of our backlog. Oh, that's fantastic work for a month on the job. How'd you do that? We just didn't prosecute anything.
Because we all know how Democrats love clearing up red tape.
It's just...
So, no, to me, it's far more fascist to not enforce the laws that were decided upon either by your actual constituents, the voters, or your state legislature, depending on what kind of a bill, depending on the bill that we're looking at. Let's go now to, speaking of abortion and rape and gross overreach of the federal government. Let's go to This Week in Biden.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
All right. Let me make sure I have this here. What is this? Another executive order. Yeah, this is an executive order from Joe Biden. Okay, Tuesday. Sorry, we're mixing everything up here today because the stuff is going live. And it secures funding for interstate abortion tourism.
A tragic case of rape survivors, including a 10-year-old girl forced to travel to another state for care. Wiping out the right to choose on whether you have incest, incest, or having a rape.
Stuttered because it runs in the family.
This is just extreme. Even the life of the mother is in question in some cases. I'll stop there and turn this over to the Vice President. There's so much more to say, but I'm anxious to hear from all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do I sign this order now? I'm going to sign this executive order right now, okay?
That's a menu, sir. It says Denny's.
So, okay. Yes, it's hysterical, but terrible. And yes, it's hysterical. Now, think of this for a second. There are a couple things that are wrong with that. You talk about a 10-year-old having to travel for abortion. Both states he was talking about have rape exceptions.
Yeah, they do.
So, okay, what's the reason for this executive order? Both states have an exception or exceptions for rape. So what he's talking about now is Medicaid will be used to reimburse travel for abortions. Remember safe, legal, and rare? I talked about this yesterday. I said it's not only no longer safe, legal, and rare. It's not only just shout your abortion. It's taxpayers. You need to be on the hook to fund the Uber for people to cross state lines and get abortions. Come on now. We're way beyond common ground. Tell me that isn't fascist. Ron Desantis wants to get rid of a corrupt prosecutor for not, prosecuting crimes, as they listed. Joe Biden wants to make sure that even though, of course, the judicial branch is supposed to be entirely separate and states have the right to decide their own abortion laws, that he is going to override it and force you, the taxpayer, at a federal level to fund abortion tourism predicated on a lie because that 10-year-old would already have an exception.
Yeah, would have already been able to get the care that she needed in that situation, right? I understand it, but why don't we talk about...
I don't understand it. I'm not entirely sure that it's a true story.
I know there was a whole lot of speculation about it, but really what they didn't cover was, okay, well, yes, that is a terrible situation. She could have gotten the care that she wanted in either state. Who raped her? Why aren't we talking about the rapists there?
Oh, you mean like the kids who had monkeypox in the household with...
Yeah.
They arrested a guy.
They did. They arrested a guy for doing it. I believe he was here illegally in the country, and
somewhere in Ohio.
He was pulled over, but he didn't have ID, so he.
They let him go. Yeah,
keep going.
That's the thing.
Choices.
Nobody wants to talk. You made the point just a second ago, right? That we were talking about symptoms and we're not treating the root cause. The root cause of what happened here is that somebody did something illegal that will forever change this girl's life from 10 years old. I cannot imagine if I was that father, I would not want to see a justice system that didn't involve me and a shotgun at the very end of it, right?
Oh, of course.
I can't imagine because we don't enforce our laws.
Yep.
That's what happened. The person should never have been here in the first place.
Look, catch and release is the exact same problem as not having a wall, not having the border.
Yeah.
It's the exact same problem. Why release? Well, because they could hurt somebody. That's why I'm against releasing these hardened criminals. Well, why do you want a wall? Because they can hurt people, and there'd be no way of tracking it.
One guy in New York that was released robbed the same store, I think, 27 times.
Let me ask you this. Let me walk through a logic exercise.
My Uncle Fred?
Everything that you say here can be admitted into court.
Sorry.
Fred is screwed.
How many people did this Andrew Warren, this prosecutor, how many did he brag about letting go without ID drivers?
7,000.
Okay, 7,000. We said that's not the big deal, but it actually is a big deal. Let me ask you this. Let's go through this question. Okay, this is serious. Think about this. If someone doesn't have an identification at all, no form of identification, okay? Ask yourself this. They're driving with no form of identification.
Right.
And keep in mind, police are often, even if you don't have a driver's license, they don't stop there like, well, okay. They'll ask for any form of identification, and then, of course, they'll usually cite you for driving without a license. If someone is driving and doesn't have a driver's license, do you think that that makes them significantly more or even just a little less likely to be committing a crime? Now, put that in your back pocket. Let's continue. Okay, let's say that they are more likely to commit a crime. Let's say that they're just as likely, the same likelihood of committing a crime as somebody who doesn't have any form of ID, like most citizens. Do you think that they are more or less likely to be caught and to be held accountable? There's a reason for it. There's a reason that you need a driver's license. And I understand, libertarians, I understand that cops can't just ask you willy-nilly for ID, but they can if you are breaking the law in a car and you are driving without a license, if you're driving with a suspended license. One time I was down the street and I didn't have my license on me. I said, well, here you go. And I think I had my, some kind of a paper. I don't know. I think I had a digital copy. I don't know exactly what it was. Oh, sorry, I had a picture on my phone. But even then he was like, this really shouldn't count, but I'll give you a warning. The point is, I would have accepted the ticket and say, I screwed up. So think about more, less likely to commit a crime if they don't have identification. And let's assume that you don't believe people who are likely here illegally if they have no form of identification. Let's assume that you don't believe, I don't know, every statistic that we've seen in relation to illegal immigrants and their increased likelihood for crime. Not immigrants, illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants. Let's assume you don't believe that. You still have to accept that there would be no way to enforce the law. Do you think, if you go through those 7,000 people in Florida, you think you might find a rapist?
And by the way, Warren called it his proudest achievement.
Yeah. And he can pee standing up.
No way.
You must be so proud of yourself.
I mean, I'm exaggerating.
He maybe does a squat.
Yeah, exactly.
Forward squat.
We're seeing it right now. We're seeing this exact thing. The left goes, this is horrible. We want to, look, we need to usurp your rights here by signing an executive order because you're in danger. Okay, what are you doing to stop the danger? Biden. New York, Portland, Seattle, Los Angeles. They just mentioned Tampa. They are right now taking steps in Florida to prevent more extreme examples that you use to make your case, like 10-year-olds being raped because of prosecutors not upholding the law. How many people do you think were raped? How many people do you think were murdered? How many people do you think were mugged? How many B&Es do you think there were? How many acts of arson from people who were released because of leftist prosecutors or defunding the police or catch and release, as we've covered in graphic detail in places like New York City? All references available at louderwithcrowder.com. This is where they try and gaslight you and say that you are being conspiratorial when you see that it's by design. Of course, the left wants there to be more crime. Of course, the left wants there to be more pandemics because that's the only way that they can control you. I'm not saying that they're secretly committing crimes themselves, although this prosecutor probably. I'm not saying that they're secretly engineering diseases, but what I am saying is they have a vested interest in keeping you afraid and keeping you poor. I've talked about this repeatedly. The only way that Governor Ron Desantis does well in an election, and if you want to disagree with me, comment below. I would love to hear an argument against this. I can't imagine one. The only way Governor Ron DeSantis wins is if people are optimistic. If people believe that they are going to be, that they have the potential to be better off. If people believe that there will be less crime. If people believe that they will be less at risk for diseases. Yeah. That's the only way he wins. The only way he wins is by making you more successful. Otherwise, he couldn't possibly win. That's his platform. The only way a Democrat wins is by telling you that you need them because you need to be afraid and they need to come in and ensure that they can protect you from the skyrocketing crime, that they can protect you from the scary diseases. They need you to be afraid. If they are the party of the poor, they need you to be poor. You need to understand. Just look at what is required for Governor DeSantis to win versus, is it Nikki Fried?
Oh, wow. Who's
spelled fried? I don't care.
He should just call the race.
Totally spelled fried, I hate that.
Anyway, that's been This Week in Biden. Okay.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Really quickly, speaking of this, speaking of voting, Robert Hughes, 58, a man in Ohio, was arrested. I don't know if you saw this Tuesday after threatening to shoot a voting machine.
Oh, wow.
Which I would say is extreme. He was charged with inducing panic, threatening violence, which is a second-degree felony, and now lawyers are saying he could actually be facing additional charges for a hate crime as the voting machine was black. So that's...
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's... Can't do that.
Yeah, it's some hard times.
We just need a palate cleanse. Do we want to show any of the Ron DeSantis clips from yet? It seems like they're kind of irrelevant at this point.
Well, I mean, he was talking about some different stuff, and he's, it kind of dovetails into what he's doing here. He's taking the steps that governors across the country need to be taking. He's basically standing up and saying, okay, that's enough. Enough of this liberalism, enough progressivism here. Just enforce the laws. Just make sure that, we're getting students taken care of.
Imagine being a person who thinks it's a good thing to not enforce identification laws in drivers.
Well, it's happening everywhere in these Democrat cities, like not enforcing the laws in San Francisco.
This is good. I feel good about this decision.
Yeah. No, it just doesn't make any sense to pull somebody over and go, well, I guess we can't go anywhere from here. I don't know who the heck you are.
No ID? Have a good night, sir.
That'd be a horrible film noir.
Is there any ID for the girl tied up in the back? No? Rats.
Sorry, sweetheart.
Hands are tied.
Good luck. Yours too.
I just think it's disgusting too to just use this 10-year-old girl, which should be a completely private situation and can be taken care of. It's gross.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's all
everything about it. Yeah. And then he's like, now we all get to pay for what's the other Uber one? What's the other one? Not Uber. What's the other one?
Lyft. Yeah.
We all get to pay for the lifts. The lifts for ladies straight into the stirrups.
No.
There's a new one called Cradle.
Yeah.
If it's possible.
There's also another one called Cat's And.
If it's
it
possible,
just plays that the whole way. Little boy blue and the man on the moon.
What did it talk you out of? I can't make it to the state line.
I'm too sad to get an abortion.
Songs, yeah.
Oh man, I'll just phrase it wrong.
I want to see DeSantis and I want to see other state lawmakers standing up and doing this. Other governors, if they're going to sign an executive order that basically says no matter what the state of Texas decides, no matter what its citizens come together and decide about abortion, which is now not a federal issue, but a state issue, we're not giving you money for that. If you guys use our money in a way that we are not in agreement with, and it's not just saying I pick and choose what you pay taxes on. I'm not saying that. You're deliberately going against what the Supreme Court has said is now a state issue by trying to find a loophole for it.
Right.
So legislatures, you guys need to stand up and say this. And then in Washington, people like Ted Cruz, if he's going to do this, you guys need to pass some bills that say, no. You can't use federal money that comes from states that have abortion laws in place to fund abortions for their citizens to travel out of state and basically just find a loophole for it. You can't do that. They did it with Planned Parenthood where they're like, we're providing service money, not abortion money.
Do you think that at a certain point the left is trying to goad people into some kind of a civil conflict? Think about it. At a certain point where it's like, okay, look, Roe v. Wade was bad law. Okay, then the court, which is supposed to be separate, said this is going to go back to the states. Yeah. The state said, okay, this is what we're going to create as a law in our state. And then the commander-in-chief says, no, instead I'm going to override it, along with locking down states. Think about it. At a certain point, people in their state who have the right to make decisions for their state feel absolutely powerless, where they can no longer say, well, you know what, that's the beauty of states' rights. This government is ensuring that your state doesn't have rights.
Yeah, it looks like DeSantis is back up speaking and not just introducing people.
Okay, all right, let's see what he has to say.
Attorney is to apply the law and enforce the law, not pick and choose which laws you like and which laws you don't like. Okay, Judge, come on up.
What judge?
Is this the new, while the other judge is suspended?
No, the state attorney, not the judge. This is a judge, but
it's a judge.
State attorney was suspended.
Keep in mind, I'm looking on a small screen here, so okay.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for being here today. I want to first thank Governor DeSantis for placing his trust in me to execute the duties of state attorney of the 13th Judicial Circuit.
And by the way, here's your replacement.
I told you.
I'm sorry, I thought you said he was a judge as well.
Well, that's state attorney, yes.
Yeah. Now she's a state attorney.
Yeah.
Which has been a
a judge can be a state attorney, just like an attorney can become a judge.
Well, you're not going to hold both positions.
A woman?
I'm not wild about it either.
I hold the utmost respect for our state laws, and I understand the important role that the state attorney plays in ensuring the safety of our community.
Can you imagine the morning that Andrew Ward is having right now? I'm sorry, he said, what? I'm suspended? Oh, we'll fight that. Don't worry. He's got a replacement already?
Sitting on a smart toilet shirt.
They're like sawing the name off of his
They didn't tell him. They just had this news confererence.
Exactly, yeah. Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
They pushed his name card out of the office like a Scrabble board. Just
Governor DeSantis, it's best to do this on Friday at 5. Nope. Thursday, 9 a.m. sharp. Actually, make it 9:10. That way he's already in his seat when it happens.
I knew I should have let 7,001 people go. Get my job.
Oh, I love it.
The state attorney has his gavel and it's just pulled out of his hand like a candy cane from the Grinch. Just guess on, guys. And to rub salt in the wound, replaced him with a woman.
Yeah, deserves.
Now,
bring in a Miami 3.
You, Judge,
No
are now a
offense, ma'am,
state
it's a
attorney.
But wear a one-piece. You're in Florida.
all right. So let's go to some of the things that he said yesterday so you can now see some foreshadowing. He started throwing haymakers yesterday, Ron DeSantis, and it was kind of a teaser of what was to come. Love it. His first target was, again, true heroes.
True.
Not teachers at this point. The other true heroes. Public health officials. This was yesterday, Governor Ron DeSantis.
They would shame people for even leaving their house in April, May 2020, and you can't do it. And so some people wanted to bury loved ones. They wanted to do this. And the argument people were making is, well, wait a minute. I can look at the risk of COVID, and it's something that I'm willing to accept because these things mean more to me, to be able to bury a loved one or to be able to do things with my family. And the public health establishment, oh, no, you can't make that kind of cost-benefit analysis. Then, when the George Floyd riots were happening, they actually wrote a letter with thousands of these people signing it saying, we do not believe that rioting and protesting is bad for COVID, that you can do it. Go ahead. Because we think it's so important that you have to do it. And then they said, but this doesn't mean we support all protests.
Of course
If
not.
you're protesting
Whitmer.
lockdown policies or other things, then you can't do that. And that's when I knew these people are a bunch of frauds. I mean, how ridiculous.
He's right.
It's put pretty well. Not a whole lot to disagree with there.
No, that was fantastic. I couldn't believe it when it was actually happening. I'm like, they're gonna this is fine, and that's not.
Yeah, we were covering it live.
Huh?
Well, you risk
That's
all
weird.
kinds of things doing anything. If that's the risk you're willing to take to go bury a loved one or be part of something, that's the deal.
Not as risky to burn a cop car, though. No.
No. Fire
That's
keeps
okay.
COVID away.
Loot a Lucky Brand store. Now, sorry, sneakers.
I got so many great jeans.
I got some new kicks.
You like these?
George Floyd would have wanted it this way. Now,
Saint.
his next up, that's true. Gender-affirming doctors, Governor DeSantis. That was his next target. Let's play it.
Involved in just protecting children in this state across a wide variety of things. And one of the things that they're trying to do is they talk about these very young kids getting gender-affirming care. What they don't tell you what that is they're actually giving very young girls double mastectomies. They want to castrate these young boys. That's wrong. And so we've stood up and said, both from the health and children well-being perspective, you don't disfigure 10, 12, 13-year-old kids based on gender dysphoria.
By the way, he just said something that would have gotten us banned on YouTube not long
ago. So why would you be doing this? I think these doctors
works.
need to get sued for what's happening. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Good.
I love it.
All right, I guess right now he's taking questions.
Yeah.
Governor DeSantis. Yeah. Okay, this is happening live. And by the way, hit the like button if you want more of this as we cover events live as they unfold. This just sort of fell in our lap here this morning.
That was making those types of declarations. He was the only one signing his name to letters that basically said, to hell with the people of Florida, I'm going to do what I want. We take care that the laws are faithfully executed. Not every law on the books in Florida do I agree with. I mean, it is what it is. And yes, there's sometimes the legislature will put laws on my desk that I veto, and then it doesn't become law. They
That's
have the ability
called
to
a
override.
veto.
They haven't done that yet. But that's just the way the system works.
I'll never get my fake dick now. I'm in committee.
And the legislature overrode it. I don't think that'll happen, but if it did, then I would be duty bound to enforce that law. I can't just say, you know what, and throw a hissy fit and say, oh, I don't think it's good and I'm not going to enforce. That's not the way the law works. And so and if you look around the country, the root of a lot of the problems is that this idea has taken hold
that you can be a law unto yourself as a prosecutor.
I was going to say the root of the problem is roots.
It doesn't really matter what the legislature does. If you believe that
I think it's a little hot compared to the clip.
conflicts with your idiosyncratic vision of, quote, social justice, then that gives you veto authority. And that is not how a constitutional system can operate. That is not how a rule of law can operate. And ultimately, you cannot have safe and strong communities if we're not having enforcement of the law.
There's been criticism of Andrew Warren for a while from law enforcement officials, but what was it that led you to ultimately make this decision? Was it his signing that letter regarding the
Thank you for the question. He's a piece of shit. Next.
Well, so as I said,
You are fake news.
As these problems around the country were coming to a head, I asked my office earlier this year to do a survey of what's going on in Florida, to see, because there's.
How do you do a survey when people don't have ID?
Going to write on a sheet of paper, I'm not prosecuting, I'm going to ignore. I mean, that's a very egregious thing to do. But you will have sometimes policies which are de facto nullifications of the law. So they will say, well, you may be able to prosecute, but in circumstances that would never happen. So it required them to go and do a lot of different things. But yes, when you have the 2021 letter saying no matter what a state declares about protecting child welfare with respect, I mean, they use these euphemisms, but what it is they are literally chopping off the private parts of young kids. And that's wrong. And we're doing stuff administratively and with medical licenses, but the legislature in Florida may want to come in.
Some instances, they sew up your vagina with stitches like a Helena Bonham Carter character.
Some of the policies that have been in place. And then after Dobbs comes down, where the Supreme Court said this is returned to the states to say that the laws that we have, you're just not going to enforce any of them. And he drew no distinction. I mean, we've always had prohibition on third trimester abortion. We've always had prohibition, or at least for a while, on partial birth. And now the 3.5 months, it's okay, that was a legislative debate. There were some people that had different views on it. The legislature passed it. I signed it. So that's what you have to do. So those are really, I think, egregious. And again, it's beyond just exercising discretion, whereas discretion would be I may get an individual case and make a determination that we're not going to go with prosecution because you have limited resources, what have you. Where it goes across the line is where that ends up being used to effectively.
You guys can comment below. I think you're watching the makings of the next president.
So I just saw that this
That's what
morning.
it feels like to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Now an
I've liked him for
integrity
years,
unit.
I'm being
We've got
honest.
people that are
I've always liked him for years, but I think that if you do your part, and we do our part, and by the way, I'm not in the business of endorsing candidates. What I can do is show you what it is that they are saying, and you can make up your mind. You can endorse your local candidates, but if we do our part and make sure that you know what the active politicians who are actually fighting for you, what they're saying, and you go out and make sure that people you pay it forward in a way that pisses off all the right people. I think this can be his coming out party for a lot of people. I think most people know. I think Republicans know, but I think this is something that, I'm trying to see this through the eyes of, let's say, the Latino voters who are becoming more conservative, the black voters on the trans issues who are incredibly conservative, everyone but suburban white bitches. This is something no one can disagree with. It just that's why they're not covering it on CNN. See, it's the 19th AARP commercial.
Yeah, they've been on long commercials.
Yeah, they've been on long commercials talking about Reiner in Russia.
Yeah.
Greiner. Oh, sorry. Teddy Reiner is the French judoka who's a monster, by the way. But yeah, Greiner.
Rob Reiner.
Grimy, as she liked to be called. Let's
Grimy.
Let's go to DeSantis again.
An election site, but wherever they're putting in a ballot needs to be monitored by an election official the whole time.
Absolutely.
And
God forbid we have
coming out
secure
saying
elections.
this thing's just sitting there with no monitoring. That obviously isn't consistent with the law. So we have in place the ability to investigate this
You mean
stuff.
to say
that
that
is being
people
done,
driving vehicles should have driver's licenses and voting stations should have monitoring?
What?
Oh my gosh. It's a Third Reich.
So you're saying that you should take some kind of test to drive this automobile and have proof of it? I don't think so.
People don't even know how
7,000, friend.
Well, you're an outside-the-box thinker, I'll give you that, but that's not for us.
It's got to be transparent. We believe you count the votes and
Is
you
this your
declare
car?
a winner
I
on
can't
election
ask.
night. That's
You
not
don't
that
have ID.
difficult to do. We're one of
Is
the
this your
biggest
92 Ford Taurus?
some of these other
other states do it. So we're.
Did you hear what he said? He's like, I think you cast the vote, you count the votes, you declare a winner on election night. We're one of the biggest states. We can do it.
Not exactly. Florida's had some.
Well, they had the hanging.
They had some missteps.
Well, that was a long time ago. They're talking about now.
I know. Let's go back to
this here today. I mean, yes, you can get elected to countywide office, but when you take office, you swear to uphold the laws and Constitution of the state of Florida. And so, if you're not doing that, well, then that's something we need to have accountability and recourse for. So, okay. Well, thanks everybody. We appreciate seeing you.
I got some more butts to kick. I'll be back.
It's a very jolly ending.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, y'all. Appreciate seeing you.
How much you want to bet there's someone in that lineup whose hand he shook and he told them to go screw themselves?
I think that's so. He
Just
has
like
the same kind of personality as
crushes it.
Donald Trump with that. He's got a little bit like of a prick in him, and he's going to go after people. He really just doesn't care.
Yeah.
But he's more polished in some ways, meaning he's been in the political system a little bit longer. It doesn't mean he's going to do a better job. Trump was absolutely the guy we needed at the time, and I'm not saying he would be a bad candidate. I just think DeSantis has less baggage right now.
Look,
he comes in with the same spirit.
Well, here's what I think it's just going to be too much blowback with Trump. I mean, if you want me to be honest, I think this guy's a little bit more poised.
Here's the only thing that I will say. I will be very pissed if this happens. Okay. If it's Ron DeSantis, if it's Donald Trump, I will vote for this person. If it's someone else who's a decent Republican, I will vote for that person. It's not my job to try and tell you who to vote for in the primary. You know where I line up in a general election. If you're a person of principle, you are today precluded from voting for a Democrat. That being said, and by the way, both Governor DeSantis, former President Donald Trump, you are welcome to come on the show. And we've had Donald Trump Jr. in the show, friend of the show.
Yeah.
Has always been a great guy. So I just don't want to see Donald Trump go dirty on Ron DeSantis, because if Donald Trump is losing the primary, we don't know. He may win the primary. Don't try and kneecap him and ruin it for the rest of us and burn this whole thing down. If Donald Trump does that, then we're going to have some problems. And I just don't want to see the people who are the cultists of Donald Trump burn the rest of it down. I get it. Ron DeSantis isn't perfect. Neither is Donald Trump. We can go back and forth on that. Either one of them not only would be better than Biden, that's a very, very low bar to clear, it would be entirely suitable presidents.
Yeah. Well, and think about this. It's a 4-year term, right? So he's already had one. He can only do one more. He would have 4 years. So if he does end up beating DeSantis, we need DeSantis strong and ready to come out fighting in 28. Right? So you don't want to put him in a position, I mean, assuming he wants to, and I'm assuming he would.
And let's be honest, we're all more concerned about Donald Trump taking a steaming crap on DeSantis that's unwarranted than DeSantis doing it with Donald Trump. So I just really hope that doesn't happen.
I'm also concerned by the monkey wrench that Donald Trump was into a system that I didn't even realize was this corrupt. And that's not anything against Donald Trump. It's just they've already showed their hand in how bad they're willing to make it.
Yeah. Right.
And I don't think they can pull the same crap with DeSantis as they can with Trump. That's why if Trump attacks them, it's extremely negative.
They will pull the same, but they have to start from scratch.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Whereas with Donald Trump, they say, well, we've already had 2 impeachments. Yeah. But with Ron DeSantis, they'll try and look, they did it with George W. Bush. They did it with Ronald Reagan to a degree. It was a little more civil, but not really.
Yeah.
You can kind of say that George Bush Sr. and Clinton, because they were both pretty much centrists, at best. That being said, they're going to do this to anybody. We don't need to do their job for them. And I just hope that President Trump doesn't let ego get in the way if he sees that this is slipping away from him and DeSantis is winning. I'm not saying that is what's going to happen. Donald Trump could win a poll by a landslide and could be the nominee tomorrow, and I would vote for him with a smile.
Yeah.
I just don't want us to be like, actually, he sucks, like he did with, everyone.
Yeah.
Small hands.
Sometimes it's warranted.
Yeah, well,
20 people at the beginning when you're like, well, there's no way he's going to win. And then you're like, oh, my goodness.
Right.
Like, you're getting so far, you're going to fall off the stage. Yeah. You're so far to the left now.
Like low energy Jeb. That'll never catch on.
So
Please clap.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
He's a nail in the coffin I've ever seen in politics.
All right, so I guess we can move on from that. You guys let me know what you think below, because last time it was 50-50 DeSantis-Trump when we asked this question.
Yeah. We're already about an hour in, too.
I know. Can we do Sweden?
Swedish. Yeah, I mean, we could probably go through that pretty quickly. Okay. I don't think that'll take too long. By the way, Brittany Griner has been convicted of doing it with a criminal intent. So she committed a crime deliberately. Drug smuggling. I think it was a vape pen. Yeah. Maybe it was a little bit.
Well, you know what, though? The truth is, for those of you out there who don't necessarily know this, you do have to be careful. Vape pens are concentrates. Yeah. So they don't do that by the same laws as, they say a certain amount ounces or grams of loose flour. Right. A vape pen is basically the equivalent to a metric ton as far as how some states measure it. And in Russia, it doesn't matter.
No.
They'll just.
I wonder if this is a negotiation ploy, though, because I know right now they're trying to get back some arms traffickers, people who are responsible for the deaths of thousands of people around the world, I'm assuming.
All of whom had ID.
Yeah. Yes. But so Brittany Griner, sentenced her to some, real gaudy sentence, like 50 years or something like that, so that they can increase the number of people that they get, because we're holding people they want, and I don't know that we really want Brittany Griner back. I'm not saying this like, of course, I'm just like,
You don't speak for the 3 members of her fan club.
I don't. You're right. I'm not saying she's a bad person. I'm just saying, I don't know.
She has fewer fans than the Washington Wizards.
That's just not true.
Wizards was a bad
Except
name.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, no.
I guarantee you there is.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you who are going, what? For those of the women who are watching, I don't know what he's referencing. The team that exclusively lose to the Harlem Globetrotters, they have more fans than Brittany Griner. But of course, I really do hope that she comes back and she gets home. But look, this is also really, really, really dumb. I'm sorry. This goes to the entitlement mindset of someone who thinks, well, I have the right to do this. No, you don't. You don't have the right to. You didn't know that hash oil was going to be a problem in Russia. And by the way, you didn't think they were going to pat you down as a black American? I'm telling you, it's terrible. I can't stand that Russia did it. Don't like Russia.
What was she doing there anyway? Do we know?
I know she wasn't beating their basketball teams.
I really don't have an idea.
I think she was playing freelance in Russia.
Oh, was she? Okay.
Extra money or something.
Yeah. Because they pay more for female athletes in Russia.
Yeah, can't pay the bills on her WNBA.
I know it's a mistake and it's a crime, but I don't think she should be in jail for that.
No, she should come home, but it's going to be a prisoner swap kind of thing, and they're just, I don't know. I think they're.
It's a hell of a swap for a vape pen for.
This guy who sold, I don't know, Kalashnikovs to Africa for 20 years.
Yeah.
And what'd she do? Well, she brought a vape pen.
Yeah. Here's your hitman
and a
back.
short table. No long table.
I don't know. I'd maybe swap Yakov Smirnoff. I'd consider it.
Well, yeah. There's people. Can we pick the swap?
Yeah, we pick the swap. It's like I think we have a new. State attorney who's going to be available.
Yeah, we could. You guys want this guy?
Yeah, just have him walk out in the cool hand Luke shackles.
Yeah. Take him. He loves sodomy.
Yes.
Couple of future second-round picks. We'll throw those in.
Spread that rumor. Tell everybody. Hey, speaking of which, by the way,
yes,
there is a little bit of a problem with monkeypox in Miami.
There is.
Is there?
Now,
that's a shock.
That's a segue. So we've talked about this on air, and some people have gotten mad at us saying that you're misrepresenting monkeypox, and so we actually there's a PSA that we've put together to help you, so that this doesn't reach the levels of the next pandemic. We're in a pandemic,
That's what I heard.
Yeah, it's a pandemic. Here's how you can protect yourself from monkeypox.
Hey there, Billy. What's wrong, Billy boy? Say, you're not worried about that monkeypox virus going around now, are you? Oh, Billy. While monkeypox is serious and sometimes can be fatal, the good news is that you can take simple steps to protect yourself against this silly disease. Here are the first steps to take to protect you. Step 1. Avoid engaging in unprotected sodomy with strange men. Congratulations, Billy. You are now fully protected against monkeypox. It's as easy as one. Now you know all the ways to avoid monkeypox. Looking good, Billy. Looking good. Brought to you by Mug Club for a Better Society. Sign up today at louderwithcrowder.com/mugclub for only $99 annually. $69 for students, veterans, or active military. Or visit louderwithcrowder.com/monkeypox. Mug Club, making a better world and a monkeypox-free you.
Let it never be said that we didn't do anything good. By the way, before we go to... we're going to have to do a Sweden thing on Mug Club, because we're just not going to have time. Walther, official sponsor of Well, actually, the official protection of the Loud Crowder Studios. You know, I don't really do a whole lot of live reads. You can't go to waltherarms.com and purchase the firearm. You can go to a shop, or you can go to your local gun range and try them. This is the PDP. It has this super slide serration and this unbelievable trigger. Look, this is all I ask that you do. Go try it. Run a Google search right now. Bing, DuckDuckGo. You can ask Jeeves. PDP review. Type in Walther PPQ review. Type in Walther PPS review. Any Walther gun, type in review, and you'll see that's the best kept secret in the firearm industry. And they have the balls to sponsor this show. Cannot say enough good things about them. Yeah. What do we need to tell people? Share the show. I don't know. Dave's going to be in the Funny Bone in...
Funny Bone, Dayton, Ohio this week.
I almost said Columbus.
Again? I know. Well, I was just there. And then
I was thinking of the Nights of.
Yes. The tickets just went on sale for October 1st in Michigan. You can check it out, davelanda.com. But yeah, I'm going to be in Dayton, Columbus. Don't go to Columbus.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. Before we leave.
Yes.
You noticed Gerald's little quip earlier.
What did he say? Was it about my mustache?
No. When we first came into the show.
Yeah, you got a douchebag shirt on. What do you want me to say?
Whoa. So interesting that you should say that. We actually have, and just so people, in case, and you can comment below if you want to make sure, because Gerald does this stuff all the time, and it grinds my gears. This whole nice guy, it's an act. It's absolutely an act.
Really?
Yeah. It's 50 shades of asshole, okay, with you. It's just constant. It's constant. The second we stop this show, you can't look him in the face.
No.
He humps furniture.
I know. Well, that was a trend.
It wanted
it's true. We did ask.
You see,
like torn Levi's for you, or
I just
football for you.
Well, they don't start torn.
Now, Gerald is my show. Crapping on my shirt.
Well, yeah.
We have security camera footage of the shirt that you wore when you came in here today. Let's show this shirt. Do we have the footage? Yeah, bring it up. Bring it up. And I happen to have your shirt right here.
What's the matter with the shirt?
It's the trans flag.
Guys, I'm gay. It's not the trans flag.
That is the trans flag. And this is your shirt. This is your shirt.
How dare you
make sure you don't look at me when the show's over.
Magnum PI?
Yeah.
Magnum PI?
Yeah, that's a great shirt.
No
great shirt.
No. I disagree.
Magnum PI? Chaz Bono.
Feel that shirt, though.
That shirt says
it is nice. It's soft. I get it. I do get it. I'd suture up my snatch if I got to wear one of those. All right. YouTube, piss off.